way too funny, and I wanted to share it with you so we can talk a little bit about social anxiety if you have social anxiety. I do not. Did I ever used to have social anxiety? Maybe a little bit. I've had severe anxiety about other things, not really socially, right? Just anxiety, like stuff, right? But so this morning I went to the gym, and you can't really tell by this top. So you can't really tell that it's see-through, but the shorts are, oh yes, you can. Can you kind of see that? But the shorts are really kind of like not see-through, but you can see through it if you have on black underwear, like your girl. I have on black underwear. And of course I'd run to the store too, because I'm getting ready to go home and start my sessions today, with my clients, and don't care. Like, I don't care. I'm in the gym and I'm like, oh, wow, you can really see I have on black underwear. At least they're cute, right? I didn't have on granny panties. I was like, oh my gosh, they're so cute. And so most people in there know me. You know how like you go into the gym or you go to a place and you're there pretty much the same time to see the same people. And I'm like, well, you guys know what I got on. And we all just laugh, right? And the whole key to that is you have to remember that part of what you're dealing with from a social anxiety perspective is how is somebody going to perceive you? Right? This goes into a lot of low self-esteem. I'm not saying that social anxiety isn't real. It's very real, but it can be very much honed in when you, keep exposing yourself. You got to keep exposing yourselves to the triggers, because if not, the triggers are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're going to paralyze you. They're going to kind of keep you in a corner where you got to stop taking yourself so serious. Number one, right? Life, big thing is everybody in life is just winging it. Like I said, we're all just winging it. We're all trying to figure out life. And when you get too worried about, well, if I go out into this social setting and I'm having a conversation with somebody, what if there's a quiet space? That's fine. Every place doesn't have to be filled, right? What if they ask me something and I don't know the answer? Then you say you don't know the answer. Like, what if I say something and it's stupid? Then you say something and it's stupid. See, you have to remember that when you're trying to be on all the time, you're also not holding space for others to feel comfortable either. Right? So I'm going to give this to you in like I'm going to flip the script on you just a little bit. So imagine that you're always the person that, even though you have the social anxiety, you're trying to fill the spots, you're trying to dot the I's, cross the T's, do everything right? And so you have another person that you just kind of like met this person. Well, they too have social anxiety. They haven't said it to you. They're dealing with something of their own. They have a little depression. You don't know what's going on. They're insecure. And every time that you come across is like, oh, I have it together. You're not opening up a safe space for them to be like, ooh, did I say something dumb? Yeah, guess what? You're going to say something dumb from time to time. You're not going to have the answers. And if you don't have the answers, don't ever say you do. No, I have no idea. Give me a little bit of time. I'll get back to you. I'll figure it out. Oh, I'll tell you what it is, but give me a second, right? But you don't realize that by you trying to not make mistakes and trying to not, have all the answers, it can also be a little uncomfortable for others who also don't have the answers. And you want to be able to hold a safe space. And sometimes you have to be the pioneer for this. This is what I tell my clients a lot, because they're working with me, right? If they're working with me and we're working together and they're starting to get the tools and they're improving and they're doing and they're growing and their other person isn't quite there yet, you got to be the pioneer of it. Like, you can't just be like, well, why can't they do their part? Why can't they figure it out? Because they don't have the tools. You're on this healing journey where they're not. Don't judge them for it. But that means you're going to have to be the patient one or not be with them, right? Because remember, when you're on a healing journey, you're not better than anybody else. You're on a different part of your journey. That doesn't mean everybody else is going to get there at the same time as you do. It doesn't mean everybody else is going to have that same experience. So by you getting too worried about, oh my God, what's this going to look like? I remember in my 20s, right, when I lived in Manhattan, I'd barely ever go out without makeup or, okay, is my hair right? Am I good? Do I have on the right outfit? No, yeah, like that's a lot of pressure to be like, I'm just going to run down to D'Agostino's, which was a grocery store at the time, and I'm going to pick up something. Okay, throw on some sweats, put your hair up, or put on a hat and go to the grocery store. Like, you get too concerned about what people are thinking of you and how they're perceiving you. They're going to feel however they're going to feel. But the more that you try to go through life and you try not to be embarrassed, first of all, you can't embarrass me. And I want you to get to the place where you can't be embarrassed. So you trip and you fall. As long as you're safe, I'm probably going to snicker at you. It's going to happen. But if I fall and trip and I'm okay, you're probably going to laugh at me. And that's okay too. Right? Because if you're taking your life so serious and you're taking yourself so serious and you don't know how to make fun of yourself, it's a problem. And growing up as a kid, I was bullied pretty bad in the late 70s, early 80s, really horrendously bad. And I would let that control me because at the time, obviously, I'm young. I have no self-esteem. Mom just is recently passed and going through all the stuff and the traumas with my dad. So, of course, I have no self-esteem. So the bullying, I took what they said, like I didn't like it, but I took it so personal. And then as I got older and as I started going through it, you can't, like, they would try to bully and I would make fun of myself. And they'd go, well, yeah. It's like they don't know what to do with themselves. They're like, oh, wait a second. So, oh. And most people who are bullying, they don't have any self-esteem within themselves. Don't get it twisted. They're not confident. They're quite the opposite of that. When people bully you, they're the farthest thing from confident. And that's important for you because you've got to stop taking these people's words and filling these voids and all of these things. And what is this person going to say? It doesn't matter. So if you get up and your bra's crooked and it's all twisted and it's sitting on the outside like this, right? And you don't, and then you glance down and you're like, oh, and so, or somebody goes, well, it's funny. It's funny, right? The problem is you get your feelings all up in yourself when somebody's laughing at you. Well, guess what? Sometimes you gotta laugh at yourself because if you can't do that, you're going to take yourself way too serious. And now that you're going into the seriousness, it's going to be problematic. It's kind of the same thing if I'm having like my OCD moments and my ADHD moments. I get teased all the time in my house about my ADHD because Paul will say to me, oh my God, your ADHD is driving me insane today. And I'd be like, it's driving me insane today too, right? Like we just make fun of it. And because I don't take it serious, right? It's what I got. So you know what? I work with it. I use it as a superpower. I make fun of it. And you got to get to that place because there's going to be things that you have to understand that you are a human being. What do you think? You're supposed to not have flaws? You think you're not supposed to make mistakes? You think you're not supposed to screw up from time to time? Oh my gosh, you're supposed to screw up a lot. That's how else are you going to learn? You know, and it's funny. I just saw a meme earlier where it's like, and it's an Albert Einstein quote. He said, you know, show me somebody who's never made a mistake. I'll show you somebody who's never tried anything new. And it's a true statement. You're supposed to mess up. You're supposed to go into a social setting and stop trying to fill it. Stop trying to sell yourself. Stop trying to fit in. Just be who you are. If you're weird, be weird. If you're too much, be too much. Don't dim yourself. Don't try to change it so somebody would like you because they're not going to really like you. They're liking a fake version of you. You are being fake. Stop. Be who you are. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It's all good because not everybody's your cup of tea. Don't judge it. Just if it's not for you, you can distance from it. But until you stop taking things that people say to heart and so serious, you're going to constantly be on hypervigilant, right? I did a podcast on hypervigilance. You're going to be hypervigilant. Everything somebody says is going to be in your mind somehow a knock to you, right? It's going to be, oh yeah, what'd you mean by that? Nothing. I didn't mean anything about that. You know, because you're always on the defense because you always think that people are coming after you. And I got to tell you this, people aren't thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. You are not somebody's main priority. They are not losing sleep over you. Right? You think that it's just like you're the center focus of, because when you're in your headspace, you think everything is about you, right? Not in a narcissistic way. You just think everything is about you. Like, oh my gosh, they said this. Is that like, why did they post that? Is that about me? You start getting paranoid, you start getting in yourself. And this is why it is important that you understand the longevity of your self-confidence. And that's going to come from doing and saying the things and putting yourself in the position and situations that are uncomfortable, because how else are you going to be comfortable with it than to put yourself in the fire, right? Remember, you can't walk around it. You've got to walk through it. You cannot tippy-toe through it. You can't make yourself easier. You got to expose yourself and be weird, make mistakes, wear your black underwear with your see-through clothes. Better yet, don't wear any underwear with your see-through clothes. When you can do that and you can start to embrace that, you're going to be in a whole different headspace and you're going to hold so much more compassion and grace towards other people because you're going to see them and you're not going to necessarily feel bad for them, but you're going to be like, oh yeah, I've been there, right? You're going to show them compassion, but you can't show other people compassion honestly, fully, wholeheartedly until you're showing yourself compassion. And the best way to do that is make fun of yourself, laugh at yourself, put yourself in inconvenient, uncomfortable positions so you can see that it's okay to not always have it together.